Next question. 2 of my bosses have told me I don't like Jocko. Interesting concept. Without giving any valid reasons. Their ego is in the way. How do I flank them to help them see the path? My belief is that they're afraid of the truth, and they're afraid of the truth they see in extreme ownership.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, clearly ego could be a problem here. As a leader, who wants to constantly be compared to some other leader, right? If you were teaching a jiu-jitsu class, and someone's like, well, the way that Dean teaches this, that would make you mad after a while.
Yeah, I didn't even think of
so
that.
That could be part of the problem. Oh, that's definitely that's way up there on the list of possible things. Could be the military flavor, right? Some people don't like the military flavor of things, so that's okay. It's can turn some people off. They don't want to hear about it. That's fine. The reality is, here's the reality of the situation. Okay, what is there to not like about the things that I talk about, right? So let's say, you know what? I don't like people taking ownership. I want everyone to make excuses and blame each other, right? It doesn't even make sense. Instead of, I don't want to hear about this cover and move. I want everyone to ignore each other and worry about themselves, right? Like that makes no sense whatsoever. If keeping things simple, I don't want to keep things simple. I want everything to be so complicated that no one knows what's going on, right? Like these things, there's no human being, no one in a leadership position that would want everyone or that would go against what these simple principles. So how do you fix it then, right? What's the problem? Here's a couple, and actually this was a Twitter thing, and a bunch of people gave great responses on Twitter after I kind of highlighted it. One of them, and my actual response was like, hey, just don't, stop using my name. Stop saying, well, Jocko said, because you can imagine how annoying that must be. Yeah. Well, Jocko's saying, when you're in a leadership position, it's like, that's going to really grate on somebody. So throw that out the window. Don't pit it as me, Jocko, against what your bosses are saying. No, don't do that. You've set up an adversarial relationship with them, and you've set up an adversarial relationship with me, and I've never even met these people before. I don't even know who they are, even know what business they're in. But what you've done by constantly harping on it is you've pissed them off, and now they're saying, dude, quit talking about Jocko. We don't care. Because also the way that just the way he's being offensive in approaching these things means that he has a little more listening and growing to do. Because if you really want to approach your boss, or he asked about flanking his boss, well, the way you flank someone isn't going, hey, the way Jocko says you should do this. You're like, no, that's not good. So let the principles work. And another person pointed out, hey, stop trying to impose your things on them. Like, take extreme ownership. How's that sound? You step up and start leading. You do your thing. You perform well. Quit talking. Quit trying to force these things down people's throats, and give them space, give them room, and then they'll recognize that you're doing a good job. If you label it with something that they don't like, well, then they're not going to like it no matter what you do. No matter what you do. That's going to be problematic. Don't bludgeon them with this is blah blah blah. No, don't do that. Put your ego in check. How's that sound? Put your ego in check a little bit. Make the ideas that you're talking about their ideas. Get them to talk about ownership. Get them. Maybe they call it something else other than extreme ownership. Maybe they call it personal accountability. Okay, awesome. That's great. Yeah, I really like that. I really like what you've come up with, boss. I'm in with that. Oh, well, now they're in the game, and they don't realize that you're talking about the same thing. That's fine. They don't ever have to realize that. They don't ever have to realize that. So, I mean, there's some people that don't like, even in the teams, there's people that they didn't like me. Didn't matter what the principle was. It's like, no. Like, hey, just don't attach my name to it. Yeah. And go and be a good leader. How's that? Yeah. So those are some things. I think if you live the principles, act on the principles, no one's going to be mad at you for taking ownership and responsibility of what you're doing, unless you say, "Oh, you like how I took ownership of that?" well, then you might paint yourself into a corner where you end up feeling stupid. Or they end up not accepting what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they'll get mad at you for stepping on their toes, of course. And it is also, as you do this, as you take ownership, don't rub their noses in it. You give them credit. How hard is that? You know, you come up with a solution to the problem, say, hey, no, actually, I got this idea from something I saw you doing. Really? Right? That's how you flank them. Yeah. Hey, I took ownership of this problem. Oh, really? Oh, you took, oh, here we go, extreme. No, don't say that. Don't say that. You know, it's like, hey, boss, I wanted to make sure this got done correctly. I was watching the way you did blah, 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 blah. And you go from there.
Yeah.
Give them the idea.
Yeah, it makes sense. I wonder how the boss got introduced to the concept of Jocko for him to eventually hate or
in this situation. It probably was like, you know, multiple repetitions of
Jocko did it. It's
like you and didn't pick up the vibe.
Yeah,
which is like, hey, I'm dealing with someone with a big ego, and they're not going to take well to me talking about this other guy's leadership style. Oh. You don't want to be compared to some other leader if you're in a leadership position.
Yeah, and man, also this is kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. Thinking about that type of scenario, man, that's the worst. That's like, as a boss, I would think that'd be really bad. Because okay, so here's a situation. So I make videos sometimes, right? And so let's say and actually this is an actual thing that actually happened. Where so I made this video for this, we'll say, client, and kind of think, okay, you know, they look at it and it's typical, you know, they'll have some input, maybe some information they want to add or take or change or whatever. And then this guy said, oh yeah, I'm not sure about this part. I showed it to my wife and she said, you know, XYZ and XY. And I'm thinking, okay, I get it. Like, okay, you showed it to people, that I understand. But I was like, wait. So this is a video I made for you and your deal, you know, kind of thing. And you went and showed your wife, and then now she has some kind of input. She's not part of this deal, you know. Now you're like citing your wife's critique and like all this stuff. And it does make sense, by the way, as far as what we've discussed and all this stuff, right? So the wife is now I kind of have this kind of disdain for the wife. I don't know the wife at all, by the way. So I'm like, I'm just not feeling the wife anymore.
Yeah, your ego got in the way a little bit, right?
A little bit. I mean, it's natural is what I'm saying, where it's kind of like, I thought we were doing this video kind of together and I was going to do this for you and you gave me the input, and now you involved your wife in it, who threw the whole thing off because she's not even part of this little thing now.
It's really hard to put your ego in check. It's really hard to put your ego in check and actually listen to what the critique points are. It's hard for anyone to do that, you know? And so when it happens, you have to go, okay, that's my ego, and you need to put it aside.
Yeah. So consider this situation. If the guy would have just said, don't say I showed it to my wife and she said this. Don't say, if he would have said, well, I was thinking about this, which is what the wife said, you know, in there, whatever. And I was thinking about this. It would have got delivered way better, way easier. Same thing with your situation. If someone's saying, I don't know, let's say, for example, it's a fireman. It's a fireman. And you know, the boss is saying, hey, we should do this and do that. And then this guy just out of the blue says, well, Jocko said, the boss is like, who the hell is Jocko? Exactly. I don't remember hiring Jocko. Who is this guy? And what's he talking about? Yeah. Cool. But Jocko has no say in this department. It's me, it's you, it's the team, you know, the team that we've worked with kind of thing. And that's kind of the feeling. So, yeah, man, don't say Jocko.
Yeah.
Leave Jocko out of that. Leave him, you know.
I don't need the credit at all.
Yeah.